Welcome to the Mama Bear Family Care Mastermind Summit. I'm Cherilyn, and I'll be hosting the summit. Today, we have the privilege of talking with Beth Greer. Beth is known as the Supernatural Mom. She's an award-winning journalist and one of the foremost experts on sustainable and toxin-free living. She eliminated a sizable tumor in her chest without drugs or surgery by detoxing her body and her home. She is an author of the best-selling book, Supernatural Home, endorsed by Deepak Chopra and Dr. Joe Mercola. Beth is also founder, CEO of the True Vitality Project, which focuses on activating our body's stem cells for healing and rejuvenation. Her website is supernaturalmom.com. Hello, Beth. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hi, Cherilyn. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. So can you please share with the audience what your passion is and how you came to it?
Yeah, my passion is healing using natural methods. Our bodies are so intelligent, I'm learning that over and over again. That so many people don't trust their bodies, and they run to pharmaceutical meds and even herbs. So to heal, and I'm seeing how by just supporting the body naturally, it just allows the healing to occur.
Wow, I love that. It's such an empowered stance to be able to trust our bodies rather than having to be in fear and rely on something outside of ourselves that is probably not the most healthy for our bodies in the long run.
Absolutely. And, I'm going through something right now. Actually, I have this cough that's been going on. I feel it's a little bit too long, and I start, okay, I'm not going to take antibiotics, but then I thought, well, maybe I should take some herbs. And when I start doing research on the herbs, many of them are toxic, even though they can work, but what they're doing is actually preventing my own body's detoxification process from working. It suppresses it, or it kills. And anything you put in your body that kills something is killing part of you. So
wow,
that's kind of how I'm
feeling. That's fascinating. I really love your holistic perspective. I mean, you've been so smart from I don't know all of your story, but I heard about an amazing experience you had eliminating a tumor in your chest. And just I saw another interview with you where you were talking about that, and it just really was so inspiring and admirable, the way that you kind of figured that out and you had the confidence to do that. Can you tell us about that experience?
Thanks. Yeah, it has to do with trust again. So I had this pain in my shoulder. It was getting worse. I went to a chiropractor, and after 5 treatments, he said, you need to go get an MRI because I think you have a herniated disc. But it wasn't a disc. They found a mass in my chest. And I just thought, how could this happen to me? I really thought I was leading a healthy lifestyle. I thought I was eating well. I exercised. I even had a meditation practice, and I was dumbfounded. And so I went to 3 top surgeons. Well, first I had it biopsied, and it was benign. It was not cancerous, but it was very painful. And the pain was running down my arm, and my first 3 fingers were getting numb. The tumor was pressing on a nerve that the nerves that ran down my arm. So I went to 3 top surgeons, and they all wanted to cut it out of me. And they all had different opinions on how they would access it. So one said, we're going to go in under your collarbone. The second one said, no, under your armpit. And the third one, remember, he said to me, I'm going to remove one of your ribs from the back, and then I'm going to put mesh back there, and I will heal you. He actually used that word, I will heal you. And I just thought, this is insane. It's like, so I don't know where the faith came, or the trust in my own healing ability, my body's healing ability, not mine's per se, but I just decided to choose another route, and I went on to this whole detox cleanse, and I actually worked with a naturopathic doctor and helping me move my lymph. And it took, I'd say, 5-6 months before the pain went away and I knew that the tumor was shrinking. But first I looked at what I was putting in my body and I realized I wasn't really eating so healthy. I was microwaving my food. I was eating out all the time when you don't really know what they're cooking there, the cooking oils they use and not organic, and then I looked at what I was putting on my skin and I saw the paragraph worth of ingredients on the moisturizer I was using. So I switched out to all natural products. And then I took a look at what I was cleaning with, and the Windex bottle on the back said precautionary statement, hazardous to humans and domestic animals. And I realized this is toxic and I need to switch out to natural products. And so that's what happened. And through that process, my body healed itself and the tumor disappeared because I had it scanned again and it was gone.
That's amazing. It's phenomenal that just by clearing the stuff out of the way that was getting in the way of your body,
Right.
it was able to get rid of it itself. Just
right. So it's like stopping the intoxing.
Yeah, right.
And then you can do the detoxing too. That was the first thing, is to stop the toxins going in. Figure out what's in your environment that might be compromising to your body. Stop that first, and then you can start the cleansing and all that other stuff.
Okay, well, that brings to mind this other story I heard you talk about before, where you had a friend who had a chronic cough, and you helped her figure out the source of the problem. What happened there?
Yeah, she was actually a client because before COVID, I was going into people's homes and making house calls, and people would call me. The doctors couldn't figure it out. It's like, so they'd call me and, well, what do you think? What could it be? So I walked into her home, and when I got into her bedroom, I could smell the artificial fragrance scent from all the candles she had, and all along her windowsill, she had like 20 scented candles, and my throat started itching. And I said, well, this is clear to me. This is your problem. And she's like, no, these are expensive candles. They were gifts. I light them every night. And then I looked up at their ceiling and there was black soot up there. The candles, most of them had these wicks that had metal, and that's lead. The metal, they wrap the material around it so it burns longer. So she was not only breathing in the fragrance, but she was breathing in lead. So,
oh my goodness.
So basically I had her, well, first of all, she allowed me to put them into a bag and take them out of her home. And along with a lot of the scented products she was using in her hair and on her body. And she called me up like a week later. She said her cough was gone. And she's been on codeine and inhalers, that kind of thing. It just didn't occur to her. Sometimes you need another set of eyes to see what's happening in your environment. And so I suggested she buy beeswax candles with a cotton wick with no metal. Mm-hmm. So she could still have her candles, but without all the fragrance.
Yeah. Maybe use some good essential oils if she wants something that smells good.
There you go.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, how many people are going on inhalers or even oxygen, letting it get to the point where there's no end to how bad it could get if you continue down that path. And if only they made a few shifts, it wouldn't have to happen. They wouldn't have to develop these problems, right?
And as I said, it wasn't just the candles that was the biggest culprit, but she was using scented products, from her laundry detergent to she had a Swiffer, almost every product was scented.
Wow. Yeah. It's just overwhelming for the body's detox systems.
Yeah.
So how did you come across this knowledge about detoxing that ultimately ended up healing you? How did it first come into your world?
Well, I used to run a company called the Learning Annex, and we had teachers and speakers from all over coming through and teaching classes. So Deepak Chopra, Marianne Williamson. I think that was probably, I was interested in alternative healing before then. back in the 80s, but this was in the 90s that I had run this company. And so that's, I think, where it really sunk in that the trust, Wayne Dyer spoke for us, Louise Hay. So I think that's kind of where it started.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So just being surrounded by those people and getting to hear other experiences firsthand and secondhand from their patients and clients must have given you some confidence.
Right. Because I was reading all their books first and then got to hear them speak. So yeah, it was a good education.
Yeah. Amazing. So for some of the audience out there, it might seem intimidating when they start going through, oh my goodness, all the things I have in my house, it's a lot. It might be a lot to get rid of or to change. It might be expensive. They might think this could be time consuming if they have to make everything from scratch. So what's the reality?
Well, I wrote my book, Supernatural Home, back in 2009. And I have recipes in there for, do-it-yourself kind of cleaners and stuff. But if you don't want to do that, what's great is that lately there's so many more natural alternatives than there were when I wrote the book. So there's so many more natural cleaners and natural products and all that. But I just think, basics, white vinegar, throw some essential oil in there, hydrogen peroxide, and baking soda. Those are the three that are great to keep around the house. They're inexpensive and they work. So I have some recipes in the book, like I said, and you could go on YouTube and find other things, but it doesn't have to be that expensive. And then, in terms of the food, shopping at farmers markets is a great way to get organic products and help support your local farmers. So I always find it more fun to do that than going into a refrigerated big box store or something.
Right. Me too. Sometimes there's live music or people there with their pets. We have one at the local park here. It's kind of a whole outing to go there,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. So what are the first couple of things that our audience might want to do to get started?
I think, the first thing is take a look at what you're putting in your body. I guess that's the number one. You have the most control over that. And so eat as organic as possible with, as few preservatives or additives, or if you have to buy things with labels on them, they shouldn't have more than, 3-5 ingredients. Because when you start eating processed foods, our bodies don't even recognize some of those chemicals and the colorings and all that. And coloring, the food dyes are a big trigger for many people, and most people are not aware that it can really trigger ADHD. It can trigger insomnia and all this. Not only for children, they've done a lot of studies on kids, but for adults as well. And so, I'd start there. And the second thing I would do is take a look at what you're putting on your skin, because our skin is our largest organ. So, look at if you're using body lotions or your makeup, that sort of thing, to switch out to a more natural approach, more natural products. And the third is take a look at what you're surrounded by. And in particular, the cleaning products can be, again, you don't want to have anything that's really strong that makes your eyes water. But also take a look at your, the electromagnetic fields in your home, and make sure that your bedroom is a quiet place for that. So don't charge your cell phone next to your bed and your computer and all that. Try to keep it like a sanctuary, a sleep sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And that reminds me, every once in a while when my body's completely overwhelmed, I'll literally unplug everything in my bedroom, or maybe even turn off the circuit breaker if I can, to just get a really nice restorative sleep.
Yeah, haven't you noticed that when you turn the circuit breaker off to the bedroom, it's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
I tell that to people and they say, "Oh, that's going too far," but it's really not that hard, right? It's one switch.
Yeah, even if it's just every once in a while, it's kind of like we wonder why we feel so much better going camping sometimes. Well,
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the things is often we're away from all that stuff, you
Right.
know, and so give ourselves a little break.
Right.
So you mentioned children and the dyes, something like red dye, for example. When I learned about that, it really blew my mind because some of the symptoms that children or adults can have from something like that are pretty intense. So how can we raise children with an awareness about how to avoid these things?
Yeah, kids are hard because they're so influenced by their friends. And I know when I was raising my daughter, um, she really wanted to go to McDonald's. I hadn't ever taken her. And I just remember I don't know how old she was, very young, young. And I had a babysitter and she came home and said to me, after she was out with the babysitter, she goes, I have something to tell you. She said, I went to McDonald's and she had this sheepish grin on her face. She had chicken McNuggets, right? And so then she had diarrhea after that.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
yes.
Right.
I explained to her that's the
Yeah.
connection. I said, this is food, it's not good for your belly, right? So um
Oh,
it's tough. I mean, she wanted to wear makeup, the toxic makeup. She didn't like the natural stuff. So you just have to kind of lead by example and hope for the best, because especially when they get to be teenagers, they do what they want. So
right. But sort of gently pointing out things like when they do have a bad reaction, maybe. Um,
mhm.
maybe in a gentle way.
Right. I wasn't jumping up inside, I was jumping up and down, but I
Right, right.
explained to
No.
her, this is what
Yeah,
happens with the McDonald's food. So yeah,
yeah, just using those opportunities
we're
to
teaching.
teaching, yeah, teachable moment, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about your beautiful book, your best-selling book, Supernatural Home.
Oh, okay. Well, it's in 3 sections: what goes in us, and I talk about food and water. Water is, that's another thing. Where can people start? Get a good water filter. And then the second section is what goes on us, and I talk about what goes on our skin, and then what surrounds us, and talking about paint and carpeting and household cleaners, laundry detergent, and EMFs. So I cover a lot. I cover the gamut.
Wonderful. I can't wait to get that. It sounds really juicy.
And it's
What?
still relevant. I mean, I did write it a while ago, but I was really ahead of my time, I think, in terms of what I was noticing. And a lot of it's gotten more toxic. Now they're coming out with, fake food, printed meats and chicken. And you have to be really careful about what we're putting in our bodies.
Yes, yes. And I like how you split that up into in what goes in us, on us, and around us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's because all those things end up going into our cells, right? And our
Absolutely.
bodies have to metabolize them, may or may not recognize them. And if they don't
Right.
recognize them, they're basically processing those things they don't recognize as a poison, right?
Exactly. And what I discovered not too long ago really was that a tumor, like this is the body, because I'm saying the body is so intelligent, the body encases the poison in a sac, and that's the tumor, because it's trying to protect us. It doesn't want us to die right away, right? So it protects us. And,
Wow.
if you look at it that way, if you look at disease or cancer or whatever, as the body's way of protecting us, it just is a total mind shift.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's like what an oyster does with a piece of sand. It makes a pearl.
Yeah, there you go.
It coats it and yeah, wow, that's fascinating. And it shifts. Yeah, it's not so scary that way, right?
Exactly. It's not so scary that way. Like, oh my God, my body's against me and, attacking me. No, your body is helping you. And that's interesting that you said that about the pearl, because I feel like this experience I had was my pearl. And that's what gave me the ability to write the book and and all that. So yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Wow. So, what project are you working on now?
So
You-
I discovered, in all the years since the tumor incident, I've been looking for something that's that can heal the body naturally without any taking supplements or anything internal. And I discovered these patches from Life Waves called, and they stimulate the body's stem cells. So as we get older, or if we're injured, our stem cells decrease. So stem cells are very abundant when we're young and healthy, and as children, we heal quickly and all that. So I was a little skeptical because it's a little patch that you wear on the base of your neck. And then I started wearing it, and I noticed, like, I'd say for the first 3 weeks or so, I started noticing that I'm sleeping better and I'm having better dream recall. And then what happened was I looked down at my leg. I had been kicked in the leg as a teenager, and it never healed really well. And so every decade it got worse, and I started getting varicose veins and swelling and all this. And I had the leg of like a 90-year-old. So after about 3 months, I was like, I noticed, wow, my leg looks different. And I took a picture, because I took a picture before, and it was a dramatic change. And so that's when I just discovered, this is really cutting edge. And so I've been telling people about it, and I shared it with a friend who has MS, and she had neuropathy, and she couldn't feel the bottoms of her feet or her toes, and that's all gone. And her brain is back online. And another friend with Parkinson's, who, when I met her, she was walking with walking sticks and a cane in the house and a leg brace, and all that, is gone now. She's literally reversing her symptoms. So it's been amazing.
My
So
goodness.
I have, as a gift for people, I wrote an ebook, and it explains all about how the patches work. And I have some before and after pictures and all that.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. That's so exciting. I've been following you on Instagram, and you have a picture on there of your now husband, I believe, a picture of some skin effects that he's had from that patch, right? It was really amazing.
Yeah. So he has age spots, we're both in our 70s, right? So when I started the patches, I decided to take pictures of each of us. So I took a picture, and he had this really big brown spot, and he's, lines and stuff. And he was wearing them. And, he said, I don't really notice very much different. I said, maybe I have a little bit more energy, but he didn't, because he's basically healthy. But anyway, then I looked at his face, and this was like 2 years into the process. And I said, oh my God, like your brown spot's almost gone. So I took a picture of that. So that's what I showed on Instagram. And he's like, wow, this works. Now he's wearing them every day religiously. Because, we all of us want to look and feel young. And so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite dramatic, those pictures, I mean, because it's healthier skin, and I'm just about to turn 48, and your skin is probably better than mine. I couldn't believe when you told me you were in your 70s. That was news to me when we were on the phone, because I'd been following you on Instagram. You're zip lining, you just got married.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have to prepare for zip lining. I told you on the phone, from the pictures that I had seen, I thought you were a little bit younger than me.
That's funny. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I feel young, and I think, getting married is kind of like a new beginning for the two of us, and it's exciting, and it's all good.
Yeah, you're such an amazing example. And that brings me into the next question I wanted to ask you, that I'm asking all of our speakers on the summit, because I think you're an amazing example of this. But to help the audience see the connection your work has with what I'm calling mama bear energy and ecological living or eco-friendly living. So what mama bear energy means to me is making a decision to stand up for and insist on doing what's most important for yourself and your family and making these things non-negotiable priorities. Despite sacrifices that might have to be made or taking a challenging or unpopular path. Has that kind of decision been a part of your journey?
100%. Yeah. I mean, I love the mama bear image, and that's who I am. I mean, I was like that with my daughter, and so she's 20, she'll be 26 this year. But I remember when she, in school, the hot lunch program was so horrible. So I got together with two other women and we formed, we interviewed a bunch of caterers and stores and had the kids taste, we did a little taste test. They had pizza, everything that they were used to eating, but it was all organic. And we told the parents that, it would cost a couple of dollars more per lunch than what they were paying, but it's really worthwhile. And so we were the first organic hot lunch program in Marin County, where I was living in California. So, this is back, I don't know, 20 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I feel like it's really important. And I was not, I have to tell you, I remember I was in a meeting with some of the moms, and they were talking about an event, and one woman said, well, she wants to have diet soda there. And I said, no, that's not happening. And then she said to me, what are you, a food Nazi? And, so then I got this reputation of being, it's like, wow.
No, you're a mama bear.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I should have said.
You're not going to mess with my cubs.
Yeah.
Give them that poison. Oh, I love that. So how has making that kind of decision, because it's not the easiest path, but making it a priority, how has that been worth it? How has that contributed to your happiness and success?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's totally worth it, because I feel like I do look younger or feel younger. But a lot of people think that I'm a little weird, and in terms of my food choices or whatever. Is it organic? And they roll their eyes. I remember going to I was invited to a party in Manhattan for a Thanksgiving. It was the Macy's Day Parade came down the street where they lived, and he invites all the kids, and so there must have been 20 kids and lots of adults. And so serving juice boxes and, non-organic juice boxes and all this crap. And I almost got into an argument with him. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just one day. And I said, yeah, but you're setting the example. I was always the mom, like at Halloween, to have the organic chocolate or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, so people don't really like me chiming in sometimes, but that's who I am. So,
well, I love that though, because you that's a good point. You're setting the example. These are the patterns that our children are learning for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
And it really can be such a simple shift.
Right. Simple shift. That's it. And that's what I talk about in my book. I talk about making simple shifts. That's key. It has to be easy, because otherwise, people throw their hands up and say, it's too much work. I don't want to do it. But you just start slow.
Right. And make it sustainable. And, what's also a lot of work, I just have to say, is getting sick, really sick. I mean, developing arthritis, diabetes, cancer, all these things that can potentially happen from a lifetime. That's difficult. And so these some of these shifts might be a little bit challenging as we're going through the learning curve, but ultimately it's going to be a lot easier.
Right. I just remember being in a restaurant with a friend, and she would pick up the sweet and low to put in her iced tea, and I'd say, don't eat that. That's toxic. And she's like, what are you talking about? They sell it. They're serving it at the restaurant. Why would they serve something that's dangerous? So, well, they sell cigarettes too, right? Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. So
Good point. Yeah. Yeah. And so the last question I have for you is what eco-friendly living means to me is living in harmony with the realities of the world around us, especially the reality of nature, recognizing how we are made and how the earth is made instead of fighting against it. And so obviously what you teach is helping people to live more in harmony and be more aligned with the reality of nature. And I want to talk about how does that empower us?
oh yeah, because we are nature. That's what I've come to realize as I'm getting older, that we are, and that we're made of the same molecules and minerals and all that as the earth. And so I try to get out every morning and look at the sunrise and sunset, and being out on, for a walk in nature, breathing in fresh air, because it's so easy to stay inside, especially I'm in Florida right now. And so it's hot, easy to stay in an air-conditioned home, but I get out and I move my body and really connect with nature. And, I've got ducks around, so I talk to them. It's really, I mean, if you see, most of the wild animals are gone. I mean, we've killed them all. So it's just nice to connect with the ones that are still here, the birds, the butterflies, and just really see that we're all the same, and maybe even communicate with them silently.
Mhm. Oh, I just love that. That's so beautiful. It's it's being in touch with who we are, with our real nature.
Right.
I've recently started learning a little bit about even communing with the plants also.
Mhm.
I hadn't been able to have pets for a long time, and I was determined to still have animals in my life. So I thought about it and I realized, well, everywhere I walk, there's squirrels and birds. So I'm going to talk to them when I go for walks. Say, hey, cutie pie, how are you? And they're still having them in our lives. And even though, yeah, there's less wild animals, technically squirrels are wild animals.
Right. Right.
The birds and butterflies. I love that.
There's
Yeah.
a duck that when he sees me, he comes running across the lake,
Oh.
swimming across the lake, and he wags his tail like a dog.
Oh.
That's the sweetest thing. I just
Oh
never, never thought I would be communicating with a duck, but there you go.
Oh, that's precious.
Yeah.
How sweet. So you have an awesome free offer for the audience. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's this ebook that I mentioned on how to heal yourself using by stimulating your own stem cells, and it's using the light from our body. So we are frequency beings, and we emit light basically, and so the patch is stimulated by the light from our body, and it in turn goes in and stimulates a peptide which produces stem cells inside of us. And there's thousands, more than 4,000 testimonials, how amazing this product is. So not expensive, and yeah, it's
Wow.
life-changing.
Okay, so that we're going to have a link here on the page for viewers to pick up that ebook, the free gift.
It's good for your moms and dads who are older, but also good for you. I mean, women in their 40s get tired, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely interested. It's exciting. I can't wait to get mine.
Okay, good.
So it's called How to Activate Your Stem Cells for Healing and Vitality.
Yes.
And definitely check out Beth's book, her best-selling book, Supernatural Home. It's available wherever books are sold, right?
Yeah, get it on Amazon. I don't know if there's any bookstores left anymore, that you can get into, but Amazon and Barnes and Noble have it. Yeah.
Okay, great. And one more time, where can viewers go to learn about what you do?
Supernaturalmom.com or
Great.
bethgreer.com. If you can't remember or type that in.
Okay,
So,
bethgreer.com or
Yeah.
supernaturalmom.com.
they go to the same place. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, thank you so much for making the time to be with us today. This was really awesome.
Oh, great. It was great talking to you, Cherilyn. Yeah.